Meet Polyrhachis armata, the spiny, shimmering arboreal ant who builds silk nests in the treetops and walks along razor-thin branches like a tightrope walker. And yes, she comes with armor. Natural armor. Lots of it. Polyrhachis armata lives across Southeast Asian forests from dense lowland jungles to humid mountain slopes. Unlike most ants that dwell in the leaf litter or underground, this species established a way of life above the rest, nesting in shrubs, branches, and hollow trees. And here's where the fun begins. While they aren't true weaver ants like Urcophila, Polyrhachis armata is also capable of weaving. We'll come back to the weaving process later. Here's how the nests are organized. They can sew plant material together, usually tree or plant leaves. They create a sort of ball of silk with all the comfort a fledgling colony seeks. Another option is to occupy a hollow tree. First, the ants secure the entrances with constant guarding and narrow silk veils. Then, they weave overlaying chambers split by silk layers. With different chambers developing slightly different climates, they have more options to acclimate the brood. The entrances and exits are on the side of each level. The brood will be constantly moved between these chambers as they need more humidity or heat. Colonies don't become enormous, usually a few hundred workers, but they may spread through several connected leaf nests across one tree or multiple shrubs. Imagine a treehouse village Ewok style, but with spikes. Thanks, ChatGPT. Please try to replace me last though, okay? Let us introduce you to Her Majesty the Queen. A sleek, almost Gothic-style figure, 10 to 12 millimeters long, clad in heavy, backward-pointing spines on her thorax. She would have been Burton's first choice for an ant-themed movie for sure. Her armor isn't just for looks. It discourages predators from swallowing her and provides anchor points when workers grab onto her during nest building. The prefix poly means many, and the suffix rhachis means spine or ridge. In conclusion, the spiny ant. In Armata, nests may be led by a single queen. We're speaking of a monogynous nest in this case, although many nests are polygynous and eventually develop into multi-nest colonies. In this case, we call those supercolonies. The Polyrhachis armata queen can live over 10 years, while workers often survive 1 to 2 years. A brief reminder, colonies with multiple queens generally persist longer than the lifespan of any single queen, which is one of the key advantages of polygyny. Now let's picture the workers. 5 to 10 millimeters long, slim, agile, and just as spiny as the queen, sometimes even more so. Their exoskeleton ranges from matte black to metallic charcoal, often with glints of blue or bronze shades under sunlight. Just as with the queen, these spines aren't random decorations. They protect against predators, help avoid being crushed by branches, and help anchor the ant when pulling leaves during nest weaving. Workers are monomorphic, though individuals may specialize by temperament. The bolder ants patrol, while the calmer ones handle larvae and food sharing. It's a subtle difference in behavior, but has been verified in studies. Another important point, highlighted by Rudolf J. Kohout in a 2007 publication, is that researchers continue to discover many ants very similar to Armata, which they refer to as Armata-like ants. In the coming years, it is likely that more subspecies will be described or some taxonomic reclassifications may occur. That being said, let's take a look at their development and colony growth. From egg to adult, development takes roughly 4 to 7 weeks, depending on temperature, available food quantity, and humidity rates. In the case of Armata, the larvae aren't in a hurry to grow because, as we mentioned earlier, they can produce silk, which the workers use as building material. They don't need to reach adulthood to start contributing to the colony. The weaving process is very similar to that of Urcophila smaragdina, which we're using here as an example. If you've never seen leaf nest weaving, here's how it works. A worker grabs a larva and starts using her like a living glue gun. The larva releases silk as the worker keeps gently tapping it. And voila, a sewn leaf chamber. We chose to show you this process through Urcophila footage because here's what you get if you try to film within the thick layer of Armata nests. Pretty foggy, isn't it? In order to weave, the Armata workers move the brood around the nest much like a mason moves bags of concrete. When the silk is too polluted with organic matter or not useful anymore, workers simply remove it. Another Polyrhachis species that can produce silk is Polyrhachis divus. Unlike Armata, however, divus incorporates a lot of plant and organic material to create a cardboard-like nest, whereas Armata nests are almost entirely silk with very little plant material. For this reason, Divus spends an incredible amount of time collecting building material, while Armata workers spend much more time hunting to feed their larvae. These observations demonstrate that in ants, nest architecture can have a major impact on their behavioral patterns. Unlike the explosive trapjaw antics of Odontomachus that we covered in our last video, Polyrhachis armata relies on teamwork. They're diurnal foragers when they are going about their business on branches, vines, and tree stems, as we see it in many other ant species. Their diet includes small insects, nectar, honeydew from sap-sucking bugs, and occasionally soft fruits. They show a strong preference for fresh proteins and live insects, likely because their larvae play a crucial role in nest construction, which requires more frequent feeding compared to other ant species. If you want to hear my opinion, these are the ants we've seen picking clean their leftover carcasses of dead insects the most. They can even come back 2 or 3 times to the same dead insect to make sure nothing is left. Guten Appetit! While each worker is capable of solo hunting, they're far more cooperative than ground-dwelling predators. Chains of workers often form patrol routes along twigs, warding off intruders and herding harmless aphids for sugary treats. They also often use prophylaxis, mouth-to-mouth food sharing, showcasing a complex network of nutrient distribution. Their defense strategy is elegant: raise the spines, spread formic acid, bite. Though they lack stingers, formicine chemical weaponry is quite efficient. When their time has come, Armata ants carry their deceased sisters away, placing them neatly among the colony's refuse. The weakened ones who take too long to pass the baton are sometimes hastened along, their bodies torn apart by their relentless relatives. In this world of silk-weaving larvae and vigilant adults, the colony never stops, driven by an efficiency that governs every stage of life and death. So, one final thought before I send you off from your screen to do something slightly healthier. In the genus Polyrhachis, arboreal nesting and silk-weaving are ancestral traits. Armata kept this treetop larval silk-weaving lifestyle even though many relatives moved to the ground. This shows that complex social behaviors can be lost, changed, or regained over time. Armata and its close relatives give us a rare look at an ancient, yet still effective way of building ant nests. If you enjoyed this tale from the treetops and want more armored ant species, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the little bell so you don't fall out of the canopy and miss future episodes. See you in the next video.